Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Resume Roast for the UBC podcast. I'm joined here today by a really special guest named Diana, a recruiter from IBM. Diana, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me. Excited to be here. My name is Diana, and I manage our early professional recruiting at IBM Canada.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diana. And for those students who are tuning in and don't really have context about what we're doing here, we've asked students to send in their resumes for a business analyst internship at IBM. And out of that pile, Diana has picked three resumes, one that she thinks is exemplary, one that is good, but just needs that extra bit of push to be exemplary, and another resume that needs improvement. And what we'll be doing today, or what Diana will be doing particularly, is looking at those resumes and identifying parts of their resume that are great or parts that need improvement, and specific actionable feedback that all of you watching can take back to your own resume when you're applying for business analyst positions, whether it be at IBM or anywhere else. Right, let's get right into it.
All right, awesome. So as Hema mentioned, I will go through the resume and really on a high level of what we should be looking for and what you should be doing in order to make sure your resumes are being screened and standing out. And on average, recruiters spend about 6 seconds on a resume before they decide they will be moving on to another resume. So we'll get right into the first resume, and this resume is 4 pages. That's a lot. First things first, let's cut this down. 4 pages is way too long. And normally as a student looking for an internship, 1 page is really what we're looking for. If you need to bleed into the second page, that's no problem. But beyond 2 pages is quite long for even someone with, years and years of work experience. Starting at the top, to obtain the job of business analyst at IBM, we know your objective. You applied for the role. We get it. That's what you're trying to do here. So you can save that little couple spaces at the top by not saying that. And then when it comes to skills and abilities, I would recommend a few handful, maybe 3 to 4 bullet points. This is a lot of bullet points. And as you can see, the first 2 points are just a couple words in the second sentence, and you're basically wasting that much more space. So try to make sure that it's 1 sentence and it doesn't go into the second line. And if it does, it should be more than just a couple words. Technical skills relating to office technologies. This is going to be probably a controversial one, but most people are using Microsoft Office or Google Suite. So everyone is pretty much skilled in that area, unless you have something specific like a VBA skill within Excel. I would not recommend writing them. And just the next few bullet points basically are quite general. Nothing really stands out. And I would put those within your experiences rather than calling it out as a skill, versus something like proficient in working with C++, AWS, etc. These are great to see quickly for a recruiter. So we're not digging through your work experience to see that, but answering incoming calls and emails in a professional manner, we don't really need to know that as skills and abilities. We really hope that everyone who is applying has those skills. So unless it's something that's unique about yourself that's going to stand out, I would not recommend wasting space at the top there. And then when you move down to the education part, this is also very lengthy in terms of relevant courses. You can name a couple courses, but for example, you're applying for the business analyst role, object-oriented programming with C++ is not what's needed for the role. So I wouldn't say it's really technically relevant to the role you're applying for. And here I want to preface by saying that it is important that you're really tailoring your resume towards the role you're applying for, instead of just creating something blanket and using it for every role.
The question that came up is that, is there a order or a particular order that you're used to seeing or you like to see? Because I've noticed that the student in this case has gone from their details at the top, I guess, their header, right, into skills and abilities, and then into their education. Assuming that they're applying for an internship or even a new grad position, would you prefer the education to be the first thing you see and then skills and abilities and then work experience?
Yeah, I would say if this person cuts down the skills and abilities to just a couple bullet points and then has education, that's no problem because I can still see it very fast. What I would not recommend is education at the very bottom. I like that I can see that they're graduating in 2023, so they still have time for an internship. But if it said they graduated in 2021, then I know that they probably aren't looking for an internship, they're looking for a full-time role. So it's great to see expected graduation date or already graduated, then what that date is. Licenses and certification, great to see. If you have something you would like to add, please do. And then when we go down to the work experience, it's a lot. It's the next couple pages is all of their work experience, which is great that you have a lot of experience, but every experience, there's way too many bullet points. We just need to see few things that you've done and how you made an impact to the business. So creating documentation of clients' requirements, functional requirements, user stories, and process models for the website development. That's something that you did. It's a task. But what did that do to your team, your overall company, your organization? How many documentations did you create? And creating that document, what does that mean? Did you just create them and that's it? Or did you showcase it to clients? Did they like them? Did that improve anything or decrease efficiency or increase efficiency? Like, what does that really look like? So really trying to put a measurable impact that they've made instead of just telling me what you've done.
If you're looking to find a structure to your points in your resume, one interesting way to think about them is RATS. So we call that RATS at UBC, and it pretty much stands for results, action, task, and situation. And you use that structure because you're in your resume, so you want to pack as much information as possible to let the recruiter know that you're skilled at something and you made a difference. So you start with the result of the task that you did, these specific actions that you took, the task in itself, and the situation that gives your overall task more context. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that using that structure has helped me cut down the entire sentence as well. And at the same time, it also forces me to think about real impact that I made in the role, as opposed to just like you said, making my experiences be a laundry list of all the tasks that I've taken in that position.
Right. Similarly, when you're going through an interview, you will hear a lot of people say, use the STAR method, basically similar to RATS. It's just kind of the other way around is situation, task, action, and result. So pretty much the same thing. When it comes to extracurriculars, awesome. Love to see extracurriculars and anything you do outside of your school program. So I really like that this person has a few, but again, too many bullet points. You just have to put one or two and that's plenty for us. So no need to again, write a laundry list. And same with the volunteer experience. I would like to encourage this person to really shrink everything and think about the important highlighting skills instead of just telling me all the things you've done.
All right, awesome. So are we moving on to the next resume?
Yes, let's do it. All right. So this resume is overall, when you look at it from I guess big picture wise, it's great. It's concise. I see the headings very clearly. So I really like the format of it. And I like that there's management projects, work experience, everything is very easy to see. But education part, it's at the very bottom. So I would certainly pull that to the top, especially because you're a student. I would love to be able to see that, oh, okay, this person is graduating in 2023. I can get that kind of out of my way. If you go back to the top, Hima, what I didn't understand was some title. My guess was maybe they were thinking like, I'm a third year business student type title. If you want to keep that, this person has every information in just one page. So if you can afford that one line, sure, why not? But if you can't afford the line, no need to put that. We can easily find that information. And just name and contact information is really all we need. Resumes get passed around a lot in different hiring teams, different recruiters. You just don't want that kind of personal information out and about. So just your name with your phone number and your email address. If you have a LinkedIn, hyperlink it. Make sure you check that the hyperlink works. And if you are more of a technical person and you have a GitHub, also hyperlink that. We definitely take a look at your side projects, your school projects, whatever you have on GitHub. One thing I wasn't sure about this person was management projects and then work experience. And then they had other projects at the bottom, like technical projects. I'm not sure the management and the technical needed to be really separated out. When I look at the management projects, quite similar in the sense of it's just a list of things that they've done. So I would really like to see something more tangible, more measurable, where we can see what did you accomplish within that job, and brag about yourself, right? Like just telling us what you did is good. But if there was another intern in that team and they also wrote the same thing of what they've done, the two resumes are going to look quite similar versus if you can tell us what did you do specifically that made a difference, that's going to stand out for sure.
How important are metrics? Do you expect every bullet point, I guess, to have some sort of metric, or is it okay for some to not have them?
Yeah, I would say not everything is measurable. And sometimes as an intern, you might not know how to make an overall impact into the business. So we don't expect every bullet point to be metric based. If you can, that's awesome. But if you cannot, that's okay. So for example, if I manage a large budget dollar amount, that's a lot to be able to translate into how that made an impact. But what I want to showcase is that it's a large dollar amount that I'm working with. So that is, if I say, I'm working with $5 million, that I want to showcase that I have the capacity to be able to do that. So that doesn't really need to be metric based. Okay, so again, lots of bullet points. I would recommend to really look through every bullet point and see if you can make a little bit of a difference in terms of the impact that you've made instead of just task oriented. So for example, the software developer in test, you performed browser automation and email automation. That's awesome that you automated it, but I'm sure you can translate that into what did that mean to automate it? Did that cut down on something? I'm assuming yes, most likely. Or what kind of impact did that have onto the team overall? But overall, I would say it's concise, so that's good. And same with technical projects, it's good. It's again concise. And what I really like about the technical projects is it shows the technologies that they've used. So for example, when we see people write proficient in Java, C++, Python, all you name it, there's like a whole list of programming languages and software and operating systems that they have experience with. But then when we look at their technical projects, and if we see that they've worked with Python most of the time, most likely they're most proficient in that area. And so if we have teams who are looking for Python specifically, and that candidate has that highlighted, of course, we're going to notice that. I also really personally like the interest part at the bottom. That's again, a personal thing. I think that makes someone unique. Because I see that they're interested in entrepreneurship, game development, snowboarding, cycling, running, sports. I think that's what makes you who you are. And we actually had a situation with a candidate that had no relevant experience for a role, but one of the most important skills we were looking for was communication. And that person had a private pilot license. And as you could imagine, that requires a lot of communication and clear communication. So we decided to interview that person, and we ultimately offered the internship to that person. So that interest part really differentiated that candidate from the other candidates.
Maybe linking these projects to their actual repositories, because I'm sure they exist somewhere, just by hyperlinking them just in their name or something. Do you think that would help make things more streamlined for you, so that if you actually wanted to take a look at the code or just that project on GitHub, it would just be a click away for you, as opposed to having to ask them?
Yes, great point. I would agree that would make it quite easy for us to be able to just click it and see.
Would this resume pass like the first round? Like, would it, the 6 seconds you would have given it for the actual position, would you have maybe pushed this resume to the next round?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the business analyst role specifically, yes, I would say it has the skills that we are looking for, because business analyst role is pretty broad, and it's not very technical with this is exactly what we need to see. I would say, yeah, this person has a good hybrid of technical and non-technical skills.
That's great to know. Good job on whoever's resume this is. All right, so we're moving on to the last one now.
Yes, another great resume. The split style is going to be also a personal preference for a lot of people, the 2-column style. For this person, I would say it's not bad with the split, but personally, I don't like the split style just because I'm looking back and forth on what's going on, but I know some recruiters absolutely love the split 2-column. The education is okay being there, but if you really wanted to, you could switch it between key skill set and education, just so it's the first thing that we get to see. The present part on education, I would change that to expected graduation, because I don't know if it's a 4-year program, a 5-year program, or maybe you already graduated or soon to be graduating. We would love to be able to know that quickly. The key skill set, I personally really like those because we can quickly see what background they have. And this person clearly has lots of technical experience. The Microsoft Office, again, is, everyone uses it, so I wouldn't write that there. The work experience, it is very clear with the areas that they were working on. The only thing I would say is I can't see from a quick glance what this tax consulting training means. Like, was that I'm assuming it was just like a quick part-time or summer job, because it was only potentially a couple months. But was that an internship or just something you did, versus the second one is quite clear that it was an internship. I like that there's only a couple of bullet points, but I would take a step back and really look into the bullet points to see how you can make that a little bit more detailed on how you made an impact instead of tasks, again, that they've done. On the very last bullet point, reviewed files, records, other documents within the KPMG one, just how many files, how much data are we talking about, and what did you do with these files? I really like that they have those internship experiences, and then the customer service, working at the cafe. That's cool that you do something outside of just your program. And then academic projects, also great to see. I mean, the first two projects seems kind of similar, just the way it's framed, like R project and C++ project. So if you are able to make it a little bit more, just from at a glance, I might think, oh, are they the same thing? Overall, this is a great resume. They mentioned their skills, that they have Java and C++ and R, and they clearly showed that in their project. So they almost validated their programming languages and software. So that's great. They have the experience, general experience for the business analyst role. The biggest message I would say is you don't have a lot of time to grab the recruiter's attention. So grab it when you can. And that's the easiest way to grab it is keeping it concise, but at the same time, really making yourself different from the other candidates. But it is stressful. I totally get it. But if you keep a few of these top of mind, instead of thinking, I need to tell them everything, but you can tell us all of that at an interview. So it's better to get our attention with your high level skills and then tell us all the details in an interview instead of trying to tell us too much. And sometimes less is more. I'm happy to have people reaching out to me. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. But if I don't get back to you right away, Hima can probably tell you that I wasn't fast getting back to him. But recruiters do get a lot of requests on LinkedIn. That's like a whole other full-time job on its own. So be patient with us. If I could give a piece of advice to people who are reaching out to recruiters on LinkedIn is don't give us a resume and tell us what role do you think I would be a good fit for. You need to do the research and apply to the roles that you're interested in. And if you have questions that you cannot find on the careers page, I'm happy to answer them. And we are recruiting for May 2022 for internships and co-ops. Pretty much they're the same thing. We use that word interchangeably. So if you go to our careers page and filter to entry level and then click interns. So I hope you can get some top tips from the session today and be able to craft your resume specifically for the roles you're applying for.
And just on the notes of timelines, I guess this question applies to me and if a lot of the students are sending their resumes in as well. So May 20, you're hiring right now for May 22 internships / co-ops. What about new grad positions? What's usually the buffer, I guess, you have for hiring for new grad?
Yes. So we also have entry-level positions that are posted right now. Entry-level roles are more on a rolling basis. So we had a huge bulk in the fall. A lot of those are now filled, but there are still new roles that are open and more on a rolling basis. We get demand from the business that they need someone for a particular role. So those will be posted. So it's not really this date you'll see and then this date it'll close. So keep an eye on our careers page as well. You just filter with entry-level and all of the roles will pop up.
I think the resume session today was super helpful, Diana. My resume wasn't on here, but I still took a lot that I'm going to go back and take a hard look at my resume to see things that I can make changes with. Hopefully this was helpful to the students who have tuned in as well.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this resume roast. If you found this video to be very useful, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more content on job search and internships. And also like this video so that more students like you can get help and get an insider's perspective on hiring from recruiters and industry professionals. If you still need help with your resumes, cover letters, networking, or any kind of job search strategies, check out the link in the description for more podcasts and videos that I've put out regarding this stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in to the UBC podcast.